So maybe I must put a question like this. How did you get to know about the Superpact instead of saying who invited you?
Okay. I came to know about Superpact because the traditional council of the West, we are working with them through our corporation.
So you are representing the traditional council of the church?
I'm representing the traditional council in the communities we are working with. Distressed-minded communities. It's our main focus, distressed-minded communities in the country.
Greetings, everyone, leadership.
Yes.
Let me take this opportunity to thank you for providing this kind of platform.
Yes.
I'm Prince Makhubele. I'm from the distressed communities of the Western and Traditional Council of Makhubele. We've been invited to come here at the pleasure of the resident of Makhubele, and we hope that this platform will look into a new territory, a new area, which no political parties ventured into, which also the Constitution of South Africa does not really mention or to mention, which is called tribal sovereignty. Representing traditional communities which are not well represented in Parliament. The recognition of tribal sovereignty means that where these communities exist, then we need to apply our tribal customs into issues in terms of conflict resolution and management. So this platform will give us direction as to are we properly aligning ourselves with the right move going forward, or are we taking this step? Because it's easy to form a political party and say who's 1, 2, 3, 4. But immediately after, there is a social distance that is there, which is unbridgeable. Because when you approach these parties, either they are busy fighting amongst themselves, and they have no time for you, or they are promising again that pie in the sky, that when we are in power, unlike so and so, unlike so and so, we'll do it better. And we keep hoping and hoping and hoping. But hunger doesn't deal with hope. Hunger is a reality, it's a fact. Poverty is a reality, it's a fact. Discrimination and undermining of the councils communities is a fact. Nobody's addressing that. Nobody has addressed that. In fact, what we did was to take the Bantustan's and purify them as 9 provinces. From where I stand, I would say abolish them because they serve no purpose. They are glorified Baptists of the provinces. As a baby man, I will not be able, even if I can, be recognized unless I cause tribal flesh. Let's say if I become the premier of KZN. Because it won't be you, but what you want here, go to your people. So as South Africans, we don't have the nations here. And who are? If we are not a nation, then we don't have a country. If we don't have a country, then we cannot be claimed to be South Africans. I'm proudly in the middle now, as I said. I don't know South Africa, because I don't know who or what South Africa is. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Are you related to Dylan's story?
I've met him several times.
No, you don't have to answer.
Because I think the brother for a purpose is not from having him for our mission. But I've met him and the Speaker of Housing and Province, Councillor Colleen, Makhubele, and I thank them many times because in our traditional communities, functions and festivities, they've been passionate about how they. And I specifically thank them to say, for the first time, we are seeing a government that preaches the social distance. That's not afraid to go to the people. Just see their faces as they speak. And responsible. Because our politicians can compete. They compete. Sensitive, you know. During when they move into office, and then the next 4 years, 4.5 years, they're going to be visible. Now you can talk to them. What's your problem? You know, what can we do?
Yeah.
But for the past 4 years, they are unreachable and very hostile. So I thank them several times to say thank you for availing yourselves to these traditional councils. Remember, we're not a political party, but we are dispersed communities, and traditional councils shall not be recognized. But you are with us all the time. Thank you so much for your answer.
Or do I need to introduce yourself?
I'm saying from the introduction on the screen, you see that there are close to 7 points. The 6th one is my area of responsibility. I was requested in the name for such cases. But because that is then preceded by everything that is to happen before it, I was then required to say it makes sense for me to join this, though not belonging to any of the political parties which are here, and also not being a politician for that. So mine is clearly that of lawyer in that order. Perhaps today I'll find your own. I need to vote for or belong to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sorry. President Makhubele, you'll be glad to know that Chile Soli, at some stage in his life, World Cup started in 2009. But it's been lost ever since, so hopefully 5 or 8. So this is our steady lawyer. I think one of our, the lawyer that is going to help us to draft the agreement, or the RS agreement. I think one of the things that we spoke about in our previous meeting was that we need to put together an agreement that's going to govern us. So we have invited him to come and listen and observe. So he's here. We spoke about it. Also that just to observe mission. So we'll be doing that. I think what's important, President, I spoke to you this morning. There are a few political parties just to take stock that we invited. We need to decide, President, who has sent the apology, who has not sent the apology, and what are the reasons why they're not here. We invited you again. President Makhubele, I received a message from the National Treasurer. They wanted to meet before they could join us. So, in a way, they did send an apology. They would like to meet before, on a separate meeting before they could join the bigger team. So, we did hear from them. We also invited Amis here, right? We invited Shuluba. Shuluba have made it clear to us that they will not enter into any pre-election agreement or negotiations. They will only look at forming coalitions after the elections. Right? I spoke to President Makhubele. We invited ICM this year. For a number of times, President, we've invited AIC. We've not heard from them. We must make a decision, even though they started with us, but we must make a decision whether we continue with them, because we are using their logo, but they have not been part of these meetings. And this is part of the task that we've given the President to follow up with the President. I don't know if you spoke to the President of the IEC, but they've not been joining us for the sessions. Perhaps maybe we must then decide to park them for now. It's becoming risky to use that logo, and they're not joining us here.
I spoke to the President.
Yes.
And he said that they intended to come and make a sense of what we are doing. So now, you said they're not here today.
They are not here today.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know whether they're going to come later or something, but I spoke to the President and he said they were going to send somebody to come.
Okay, so we leave that here for now. BOSA is here. Build One South Africa, Conference of the People is here. PAC of Azania.
Sorry, I was talking to Shiluba. You spoke to Shiluba?
Yes.
And ICM?
ICM is here. Is President Makhubele.
Yeah.
Yes.
AIC?
AIC, they are not here.
We don't know what their position is.
No. But they've started with us. They've just not been attending these workshops.
Yeah.
So this meeting must decide whether we continue to invite them to the sessions or we drop them off for now. So I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it to the meeting for now. Let's proceed. We've also invited PAC of Azania. President, you did speak to their president, President Gordon.
I spoke to
Shosholo or something. So it's very difficult.
no, I spoke to Nyonso.
Yes.
Yes. He had said that he was, if he gets this invitation, he was going to come.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure what the position is with him.
We have sent them the invite here, so we'll make a decision on that. NFP is here. APC. We did invite President Goji of APC. He has been part of this process from the start. However, I received a message from him this morning to inform us that they have decided not to proceed with us. He sent me a message because of the article that he saw over the weekend regarding the Superpact, talking about him. Says therefore they decided not to join us. I don't know what the article, the content of the article. I've not read it. So they've decided to pull out for now, and we've accepted it from their side. So APC will not be part of us going forward. ATM, I spoke to their president a week ago, where he indicated that he is part of this group. And in our discussion, APC is representing him. Now that APC has fallen off, perhaps ATM will also fall off. I don't know what it means, what is the relationship there. But maybe then we must just conclude that ATM will not be part of us going forward. Right.
Well, if I may add to that, I spoke to the ATM president, and he told me that they didn't come to the last meeting, but that they are committed to coming to join us, or to join the meeting. And then he added, as long as you have as long as you have the commitment of Godi,
Yes.
then you also have us.
Yes.
We're there. So now that we have the position that we know of Godi, it seems to me that he probably would say that we're no longer going to come as well.
Yes. Yes. All right. Speaker.
Yes, and I think perhaps we need to put this to the attention of the collective as well. There is another fact that is happening where you've got with ATM Act of that there is Makhubele, ATM and the Cllr house, the Zuma kind of camp. I think it's 4 of them. I've forgotten the other one. I'm not sure if it's PAC or there is 4 there.
Yes.
So there are those discussions that I think they are exploring, which I think the APC may be seeking to explore as well, just so that you are aware. They are also doing something together. But please, Chair, don't forget that the Alexander has not introduced themselves. I wanted to bring it to
Oh, my apologies, and I honor the Tetwala.
Yes.
My apology, we will let you introduce yourself. Let's just finish the slide. I'll let you introduce yourself. Let's read that. So, in a nutshell, in conclusion, Presidents, please permit me to call you President. It's easy for me. have committed, ICM committed, BOSA obviously observing. We can't wait for you to get married to us. You've been observing us for quite some time now. COPE, NFP. So what we have, it's really 4 political parties that have committed to respect. And yeah, so let's say that, and the scholars of the coalitions and alliances in the world, they say the lesser the better. And NFP as well, I think I forgot. The lesser the better, because we're able to manage our interactions. I'm going to allow the Ndatetwala to introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Ndatetwala, not Ndatetwala. But yes, I am a representative of Makhubele, which was founded by my father, Ndatetwala, and I'm also a representative of the NCICC. So we are here as just change makers, basically. We don't belong to any political party, but we are happy to see a group full of change makers. We stand by it and we will back to 100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'm also a co-founder of the Institute. As mentioned, we're very happy to be among change makers. We're also looking at finding various methods and ways of participating with people as much as possible. And we're glad to be able to progressively do that.
Can you please repeat the name of the person? I just want to.
Okay, your organization, what's the name of the organization?
NYS for short.
NY?
NYS for short. NYS to the city. Okay. Translation, Nation. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
The gentleman next to you?
Hi everyone, my name is Kenneth Makhubele, I'm with SE.
Is it here? Or is it here? All right. As per the norm of our meetings, now that we've introduced each other, can you just briefly pray for us? Pray for this meeting, pray for the food that we will have later, and pray for the success and outcome of this session. Thank you.
Let us pray. Father God, we come before you this morning. We invite your presence. Lord, we pray that you guide us, give us wisdom, help us, Lord, to engage in the robust discussion here, and help us, dear Lord, to reach the conclusion that will lead us into the main objective of this meeting. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ that, Father, as we come out of this meeting, come out more closer and united to nurture the community in the mighty name of Jesus. We also want to thank you, Lord, for the food that we will all share during the lunch. I bless it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. There are 2 faces in the room, maybe a speaker, because of the new faces that are also in the room. I think in our previous session we did mention that we must never lose track of where we started from. The genesis of this group, where we came together. And I think for the sake of the new faces, the team is getting bigger and bigger every session we meet. Perhaps for the sake of our second meeting, but we started this thing with the speaker, the two of you. I'll possibly just give you a few minutes to share with the rest of the group, the genesis of the Superpact, where we started, and really the motive behind the Superpact. I'll start with President Reporter, then Speaker, you wrap up.
My dear comrades, our country is going to elections fairly soon. Now, I'd like to lay the foundation of where, in fact, all of us, the people of South Africa, must proceed from. It is important to understand that when we say we are going to the elections, we actually are saying that the people of South Africa must be given an opportunity to choose from amongst us those men and women who offer themselves as being ready to govern and govern the people of South Africa as a whole. It does not matter whether they have voted for you or not necessarily. But if you get the majority, then you have the responsibility to look after all the people of South Africa, not only the ones who voted for you. Now, where does the government get money? Because in order to govern, you must have money. Now, I must state this. All of us contribute money that goes to the government. How do you contribute that money? You pay what is called tax. When you buy shoes, there's something called VAT. You pay the price of the shoes, but you must pay a percentage of that money. Is called VAT, value added tax. That is the money that goes to the government. All of it. When you buy food, when you buy clothes, you buy cars, whatever you pay for, there is that amount of money in there. Whether you know it or not is irrelevant. That money goes to the pocket of the government. Recently, it has been increased, I think, by 1%. Now, when that money gets to the government, all of it goes to the government. It is not their money. It is not the money of the men and women you have voted for. It is the money of the people of South Africa. Rich and poor, educated or uneducated. It doesn't matter. It is their money. And when you are elected to government, you are not the God of the people. No, you are not. You must understand this. You are the first servant of the people. Yes. And you have to pay these people. These people, some of the money that they have paid is going to pay your salaries and all of that. It is that money you must use to build schools and educate their children. build hospitals so that the sick can go to the hospitals, to build houses so that people have got places where they live, to do each and everything that the people of the country needs, to build the prisons so that those who are arrested for transgressing the law must be kept in there, and also to make sure that they have food when they are in their serving sentences. The judges, you name all of these people with black, and all of them are working and they are paid by you, the people. So when we give you money, say now, of course what we do, we will divide the money. When it comes, it goes to central parliament, to the central government. Some of it, the central government will say, this one we are going to send to the various provinces. Even those guys in the provinces, when that money comes, it's not their money. They are given that money so that they can develop their budget. They must tell the people of the province, we have been given so much money. And this money, with this money, we must look after you. They must tell you, or you must tell the people of your province, we will build roads for you for so much. So much will go to building schools for your children, that in this province. And all the things the people of the province need, you must tell them that you are going to use this. And then you say, so much money is going to be paid, is going to come to us to pay our salaries. Now those salaries, by the way, must be decided upon transparently. You must know, they must tell you that we are going to take so much money from this whole amount of money. You will, every month, each one of you will get so much, so much, so much, so much, so much. So you must also ask your provincial leaders, how much are you paying yourself? How much of the money we were given as this province? How much are you taking for yourselves? Elect men and women who will understand this, who will know that they can't overfeed themselves with big stomachs and all of that when the people have nothing to eat. When the people who are old, who have been paying pension, paying money, all of that, when they are old and they are now, they can no longer look after themselves, they can no longer work. These people must not say, there's no umdeni awusekho. Where did the money go? If you say you can't pay their pension, monthly save money to sustain them. When you say it's finished, who finished it? What did you do with it? How could you not have foreseen that when these people are now so old and they are that there must always be money because they can no longer look after themselves? How is it that now you tell them that there's no more that thing? No, the post office has collapsed. What nonsense is there? Post office. Is it those walls there that make the money in there? So what nonsense is it? What did you do with the money? It's important to understand government. So one of the reasons we are sitting now here, and we must tell each other this truth. If you don't want to prioritize the interest of the people of this country, of the provinces, of the towns, and all of that, please get out, because now we are going to take a decision here. Yes. We are now going to take a decision here that if the people trust us, I'm sorry. We must tell each other now, we comrades, look at each other in the eye and say, comrades, preliminarily see the bafethu. Regulated as charm. We must understand this. Now, one of the things we are going to suggest here, and I want to suggest it if I'm allowed by you, is that, comrades, if when we go to the elections, not after the elections, before, when we go to the elections, we must explain these things to our people. And then we must say to them, we want to tell you when budget comes, budget teacher can fail, all of it. When the budget comes, we are going to tell you how much it is. That's the first thing. We must tell the people how much is this money, which they have paid in VAT, tax, and all the things that they did. We must tell them that, number one. Number two, we must tell them in the Western Cape, there are so many South Africans, so many families. Every family we are going to give so much, and so on. All the provinces, all the families in the various provinces will give them equal money, depending on the numbers. If Abase Western Cape, they are more than Abase Northern Cape. About Abase Western Cape will get, the province will get as much money as what the families there say. But when you break up, it must be the same amount of money for the people of the Western Cape as families of the Western Cape and families of Natal and the families of the Transvaal, the families of the Northwest. Every family must get plus what it really requires. What the numbers of those families, they must get the equal amount of money. There will be other things, of course, that you will have to do. If the numbers are like that, you look also, when you are busy with that thing, you also look how much money comes out of Gauteng. Now, just because so much money comes out of Gauteng and so on, you cannot just say, no, we're going to give them more money than what. But we must also consider those things. Because if the Northern Cape doesn't have mines, it doesn't have that and so on. So, and there's fewer jobs there and so on. And abanye abantu base Northern Cape bazala, abanye basuka eTranskei bazosebenzela eGoli, abanye basuka Limpopo bezela. So you must also consider that. And you, in general, you budget. When you say you are budgeting, you are sharing the amount of money that the people have contributed, and you are sharing this amount of money such that you don't leave the people back in Northern Cape without anything. Because you must make up for these things so that when the people of South Africa look at each other, they are at peace with each other. They don't now want to fight each other with no need and you look at the numbers, you look at other things. But about now, when they look at that, they must feel no change. These guys really have done their best. They've tried to do this. Now, if we're told that some of our money in Yamale, recently I heard that government was saying that there's no more money. There's no more money to pay the pensioners. There's no more money to build schools. There's no more money to sustain the hospitals. This government of the ANC is just telling us that. So what were you doing? What did you do in Imalisi Kogi? What did you do with it? Yeah, we can see that now. The drama post. And then mona le eng e so. Jwale tjhelete ya rona e ile kae? Ene ho tla ba tjhelete ya rona e mo di-soufeng tsa hao mo Phalamane. E banna le rena no le mo mesamong e teng le mo di-soufeng le mo dibetheng no rena kore o sa e jele and ha a sa e jele a kgotse o sa bile a robala hodima yena fela gore a mpa a dileno ke ya hae. Wa bona Ntate Zuma ha ANC mo kgetha hore e be president wa ANC ka be ke re my comrades let's forget divorce papers because now we know what happens. You can't do that. But I can tell you that now we put divorce papers, we are going to form a party called the Congress of the People. It will be, we believe it will be a party that will be a matsohong a batho ba South Africa. Iseng ba bang ba ba sa lekang tlhako. Kaofela, they must get money so that they can be looked after, and we will look after them in that thing and so on. Abalata metswalle ya hae wane go India ba fihla mona ba state capture le boteng tate ka mona ke mo agente o tla le bolella he ke monto ke mo agente ke advocate o advocate le mara ke bo tate ba ithutile molao ha ona ntho engwe ka kano mo o ithutile molao mara le ena o a lapa jwalo ka lona. So you can't argue Sandton mara yona ile ya tswa ka festere mo le bankeng ha ona ditweba tse di tjhelete. You won't find mice in the bank.
When he has to leave,
When
I just want to go through 3 slides and so that we can reach you. I know you had said to leave at 12. But just 3 slides that I want you to see.
Yes.
Then we'll come back. Please. Yes. I think let's do that.
I'm happy for us to be
Yes. Yes. So President, I always have a thank you. Thank you, President. Speaker, just as part of what we then achieved in our last meeting as a Superpact, I want us to talk through this slide, especially for the purpose of the new faces and also Soli here as our lawyer. There were various options that were presented on the day as different political parties. How will this structure come together? How are we going to match this thing? How are we going to contest 2024? So various options were explored. Option number 1 was really that we remain with the status quo. Status quo being currently what is happening within the local government coalition setup. Right? Option number 2 was that we're going to elections as a Superpact as individual political parties. That's option number 2. I'll come back to the advantages and disadvantages of each. Option number 3 then was that how is it possible to put together all these political parties, the 6 of us as political parties, into one structure, and we contest 2024 elections as a one structure. Right. Option number 3 was really a preferred option amongst the 6 political parties. I know NFP were not here, but we did set up the meetings as well. But this was the preferred option that we put together all the 6 political parties into one structure, including the civic association movements economies of scale, synergies. We were able to counter the IEC threshold, which was a key topic over there. You know, with the government of ANC planning to have a 1%, I think it's 1% threshold. The feeling is that most of the political parties, political parties, will fall off after 2024. So having all the political parties into one basket, it will counter that. And we're really behind one brand for 2024. We don't confuse the voters. And we've learned with what I said, something unique, it might attract the voter. If you walk around in the streets, you talk to voters, you engage with the voters, they're telling you that, look, we don't know who we're going to vote for. You know, we are going to vote, but we're not sure. And this is estimated that 60% of the voters are of the same team. So we thought, we are thinking that this might present an alternative to the current status quo ANC, DA, and NFP, IFP, etc. Bigger scale to raise funding, you know, we put all our resources into one basket, and we're able to raise, you know, funding that is required to have a proper campaign going to 2024. They say the sum of two is bigger than one. That's the idea. Yeah, there is competent, qualified, skilled people. That's what the current ANC government is saying. Some of the issues that they're facing, that, you know, how do you deploy people into government, scale employment. But around the group here, we've got qualified, capable people that can go into government portfolios and really perform, you know. So the disadvantage with that was, look, there's a lot of work to address the details. You know, when I engaged Solid the other day, was saying to me as a lawyer, look, how will this thing come together? You know, how are we going to put this in together as different political parties with our own manifestos, with our own strategy and our own goals? How to then we merge together this thing? What are the details? Part of the purpose for this meeting was saying to start to address the details together with the framework. President Makhubele is not here, but I've tried to put together his presentation, his document into few slides that we're going to looking at, you know, setting a tone towards the framework for the Superpact. Might result in parties losing respective identities. I think that's true. You know, we come into one basket. Some of us, some of the parties felt that, you know, we might lose their own identity post 2024. Policy misalignment amongst the member parties. You know, some of us might have a policy that lent what do you call it? They lent expropriation of land without compensation. That's an extreme policy that is extreme left, and some of the parties here they try to move to the center, and we may have parties that, you know, their policy alignment is to the right. So this could also pose an issue for some of us here. Resources to orientate the voter on a new brand. This will require a lot of money for us to run a proper campaign, nationwide campaign, every ward. We're going to need a lot of money, but not only for the campaign, but also to educate the voters about who we are and what we stand for. So that's really option 3. That was favored, that was prepared in the previous meeting. And we are going to discuss, unpack the details today. I'll not look at option 1 and option 2 because then they fell off, right? There's another slide that I really want to go to before we leave. Oh, yes.
I only just found out about
It's fine.
this.
It's fine.
I'm
It's
so
fine.
sorry. I
It's
just had
fine.
another
Okay,
commitment.
all right, that's
I'm
fine.
really so
All
sorry.
right, thank you so much. You're welcome to.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah. So I think then we'll go back and follow our secretaries in the absence of Wendy. Our president is not in with me. Yeah, maybe if you guys require, they've put out outside here a finger lunch, a snack. If you want, we give 5 minutes for you guys to get something to punch on. They've said lunch will be served from 1:30. Those that are maybe you can still stretch it for some 1:30. Right? What we said on the side, maybe let's take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, take a break, go for a speaker.
Okay. Will you break? Let's go and grab something. Let's go and give our kids some work. They've been sitting for too long doing nothing.
If they have 2 different locations, you must put them.
Now, we create a challenge. Never feel it. But now, for some of us,
Hello.
So the thing that we do is one step ahead. Always so we are the train is moving. And was that a woman and teaching open physical. So Lona was come under the So that's the challenge. So okay. So maybe another issue. Local government.
I'm waiting for yours. I don't want anyone to be left behind. Just think what you want. Anything. Back to Sandton, please. Okay, finish. Kenny? Consider. Thank you. I noticed that you will be generic. Okay, anyone else? Absolutely. What's your name? How do you know? Hey. You saw this, man? This. Okay.
How do you see it changing? Makhubele life.
when it gets here, we'll also get expand on this. Our weaknesses, limited or no funding. Where are we going to get the money? I'm highlighting the weaknesses so that we can now start thinking about this thing. You know, the weakness you work on to try to eliminate it. You know, limited or no funding resources. You know, we need money to go to Parliament. It will not come free. Unfortunately, it's not free. You know, they always say life is not free. So, possible incoherent policy direction. That could be a weakness, but also that could be a threat. Do you know what I mean? This could derail us. If we have a party that will say, what is this thing of labor responsibility? You know, that is far extreme on the left, like President Obama was saying it, like PVC, like NPC, Black and Facts, what you can deliver. So that threat, we've taken care of it now. I think one of the threats that we had in PAC has fallen off, right? APC. So it has fallen off. One thing that I thought about that I've added, it looks like we block only political parties, organizations. Obviously, BOSA, they are here on as observers. But you look at the table there, it looks like we're only black. Is this a weakness? Where are the white parties? Where are the white civil society organizations? Because President Obama said last time that we are a non-racial group, but we've not been able to attract white. And you know when there's white around the table, it's good, it looks good. We can't just be a group of black. This is a
I
weakness.
think we need to be inclusive. That's the word. Inclusive.
Yes. And even Indian color, it's not only white, but we have to look at being inclusive so that we attract a wider group of voters. Deputy President, welcome.
Thank you.
So it's a pleasure.
Thank you.
I give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. There are two people that are just coming. I'll give you an opportunity to do that. Limited or no experience to lead government. It is a weakness. We are not ANC. We've not been a ruling party. You know, so we need experience to that. This is a real weakness. You know how to put together a government. Say come 2024, we are a winning alliance or a coalition. You know how to put together a government. You know, we have to work on this. Right? Infighting political factions prevalent in the member political parties. You know, some of us were saying, let's go consult with our structures. Our structures align with this. You know, factions within some of our member political parties, we are opposing this. It's a weakness and also it's a threat to us. Okay. Indecisiveness, the contract so that we move forward. All right, opportunities and threats. Those are things that are outside of our control as a group. Opportunities we can exploit. You know, threats you can also deal with. You have to be cognizant of that so that we're able to eliminate threats. Opportunities that groups, SAPO movement, Soweto Parliament, Swahili Parliament, we just spoke about it. AC is predicted to fall below 50% in 2024. That will present an opportunity for us. And not only to be in opposition, but possibly to form government, around portfolios, around ministries. That's an opportunity for us. Alliance with private sector, my brother is here. We're trying to bring private sector partners into the group. Not necessarily just for funding, but also to teach us one or two lessons. It's been said that South African private sector is so strong, and it's a sector that currently it's sustaining South Africa. So, which says to us, there's so many lessons that we can learn from these people. And the sooner they become part of us, the better. We not only look at one, but we look at two. The Moonshot Pact, I think they've changed the name, did not take off. Some sectors of the society are saying, these people have confused them, right? We don't know who's going to be the leader of this. There was so much hype about it. But when they concluded their conference, it left us, many of us, so confused. So, it did not take off. This group must take off. This group must be decisive. This group must be different in terms of what is it that we want to do, so that we avoid confusing the voter and the public at large. Alliances with credible, independent candidates. President Gordon was talking about it earlier, that we're still going to invite independent candidates. So that we counter one of the leaders raised here last, was it 2 weeks back, that they reach a certain threshold, after that they waste their votes. So if we're able to convince them to be part of this, we're increasing our numbers. Right? But important is credible, not just everybody. You bring a rotten potato, then potential to break this off. Unreliable, uncommitted alliance partners, one of our friends. Speaker says I must move faster. I'll do that. Newcomers are disruptors to the mainstream politics, voters' apathy. Can you change the attitude of the voters out there? To go and vote. Misaligned political party structures, we spoke about it earlier. Inability to raise the 2 million rents required for our election campaign. We'll talk about it later on. We estimate that we require 250 million rents to run a nationwide campaign, every corner of South Africa. We must be visible. So we estimate around 250 million, and we'll tell you how we came to that figure. I can do it alone mentality. Some of us here will say, no, this is always been a time. As a political party, I think I can go at this thing alone. It's a threat to us. Right? Constitutional court case on independence. This was a threat. The outcome of it, the wrong address code. Remember we said it should be a partner with independence, so they are affected in terms of what we want to do. President, can I take a break and just have coffee while you introduce yourself and move to the next slide? And also the gentleman, just the organization that you come from, and I'm also going to ask you why you're here and who invited you. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lawrence Makhubele. I am the founder of the Alexandra Youth Swim Academy. I'm also the founder of the Cllr Family Library located in Alexandra. But I'm also these two wonderful human beings here, Colleen sadly the government doesn't look at us, the youth, are one of those disgruntled voters. Thank you.
Good afternoon, colleagues. My name is Lomuntu Hlazo Webster. I am co-founder of the Say with Ms. Maimane, and I'm the deputy president of the party. We're here back again because we do believe we have an alignment of values and synergies with this group. So just looking forward to being here. We are an observer status still because we're still consulting with our constituencies. But one thing for sure, we rely on values. There's a connection. That's why we're back here. And I apologize for being late. But my colleague Stevens is here, our co-chair, and he represents us in the main in this case.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome too. I didn't get the name, but you're welcome. Deputy President, I said to students here that we can't wait. We can't wait to move from observer status now to actual dating now, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of share now.
Either way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So leaders, you know, when I got a message from President Makhubele that is no longer coming, I had to put together one or two slides aligned to his content. And I'm going to be asking questions now. And this is really setting a tone for him when it comes to an hour's time or so to take us through the detailed template that is prepared. I'm going to be asking you questions now, and you're going to answer me. I've been talking, but also your responses will help in that story to put together the alliance or the coalition agreement. That is certainly a key output of our meetings. First question, is the coming together of the Superpact parties an alliance or a coalition, and why is that? At this stage, I'm going to allow each and every organization to answer me in no particular order. Scribe will take some notes from me, all right? I will form an alliance or from a coalition, and what are the reasons for that? In no particular order. There's no right, there's no wrong. We're setting a tone for our detailed presentation by President Makhubele when he gets here. Let's talk. Commander, morning.
I think now I should actually mask Commander's morning. I'm wearing a mask, so it's now suffocating me. Yeah, everything begins in the morning. So Commander's morning. In my view, from the community perspective, because we are a non-political organization, I'm a first time actually, but by observation, this question is actually something that I've been asking since you started talking. I'm on record saying coalition governments are toxic. Everybody will toxic, marriage of inconvenience, that benefits the parties, not the voters, because the coalition agreements that they make are not made known to the public, which is in contravention of so many clauses like your PAIA Act, Section 82, access to information is not actually being given to the people. So I saw it as befitting to call this an alliance, because we still retain our identities. But the goal is the same, the common goal. I have questions, I don't know whether I can give you 2 minutes.
Please.
The manifesto part of it was very problematic to me. I was like, the reason I actually accepted the invitation today is I had a problem with the manifestos. I always said these many scripts are going to confuse people. 120 parties or 200 parties are going to confuse people because I come with my manifesto, you come with your manifesto, he comes with his manifesto, and we go to the coalition. The big brother, who have many seats, will dissolve all those coalitions. That amounts to auctioning people to the highest bidder. I don't know whether I'm making sense. My manifesto, as a smaller party, is going to be dissolved by the bigger party. And I'm auctioning people to the highest bidder. But as an alliance, we say, let's go together. We are together, we are one. We don't lose our identity, but we push the very same common goal. Because with coalitions, it doesn't work like that. There's a big brother mentality. If DA has got many seats, what DA says, DA goes, because we've got 1 seat or 2 seats. It doesn't work for us as people of South Africa. We want to be represented, and they can't reprimand the big brother as they are doing now. If the big brother is wrong, either they remove you or go to court. I mean, they run courts every week for smaller things. I mean, there's a lot of, there's a term that I used to know, but it will come. But in short, I'm very much happy, honestly, to take this message to the capital city residents, to say to them, what's one? The vehicle, because our duty as parliament is to shop for the vehicle that will take us to 2024. The vehicles that are now in disposal, oh, they're messed up. I'm very sorry, excuse me, commanders. They are all tainted, they are all corrupt to the core. There is no way. President Lekota mentioned something which is in my heart to say. We are the community, the people shall govern. If I pay tax, I expect my money to be used to my advantage so that it can serve me, not to enrich a certain individual. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So from where I'm sitting, because I'm not only here for you on my behalf, we've got constituencies that I need to take the message back to. But I'm very glad that everybody here, when we talk, I can sense that we are all eager to build one South Africa that we are going to be proud of. Because now we are so ashamed to be associated with this banana republic. People are doing as they please because they've got their own agendas, and their agenda is money. Everybody wants man to Kebatosha. If you talk to your comrade, Kebatosha, that is why we actually don't like the word comrade anymore. They are the commanders, because our comrades are very corrupt. Thank you very much. If there are other questions, I'll step in, but the alliance for us as a community sits well. Because this coalition thing, I was on record again 3 weeks ago, saying, near Papa, that clip I sent you, near Papa, last night. It pegged the army, coalition, means us wouldn't corrupt now. So we are going to dethrone you. I told them on record that we are going to dethrone all these monarchs that believe that they're entitled to our votes. Our votes are not for sale. This modern day slavery will not work for South Africa. Whoever came with a mirror and stole our land, now they have turned it. You give me a t-shirt with a very ugly man, I give you power for 5 years. It don't help for me. It's a modern day slavery. Why must I exchange my power for an ugly man on my chest? So either you give me what I deserve, and I give you the power. You can't disconnect me, electricity, and expect me to give you power. Take my power, but you want power. It can't work. It's tit for tat type of a situation. Commander's morning, let me allow others to talk. Morning.
Commander, good morning.
Morning, Commander. My question, in fact, let me start by praising or appreciating the effort of starting such a move of an alliance, though it's done under the name of political parties. We've been watching this democracy of ours from 1994 until today. report is great, nothing to hide here. But it has made sure that those who are pulling out of it maintains them not to grow. First of all, starting from the very honorable party, that is one of the first that came out of the corrupt ANC, which is Cllr. But if you will look, starting from Cllr, coming up to today, as the learned comrade said, or commander said, to say, we can come as many and make as many parties, but what is the impact of that? And where is the command coming from? Because in reality, I'm from a community-based organization. In reality, our politics in South Africa, not only the ANC, are getting away from us, the voters. Not only the ANC, all the political parties. And now, who made it so possible for all our political parties to follow that route? It's the very same ANC. By making sure that these parties don't grow, let's remember where our politics come from in the country. They come from one party that made the other. They ended up to be for liberation movement of this country. But when 1994 came, only one party tasted the juice. What about other commanders who fell from Pan-Africanist Congress, who fell from AZAPO, who fell from Black Consciousness? Because all those were meant for us, liberation of black person in South Africa. So my only question, before I take it too long, is that how are we going to make that alliance away from the weak point that has been happening? Because it makes no point to have 100 political parties in parliament who meant for the black poor people, but the impact is not there. Instead, when things are tight, they go back again to be manipulated by the same political party in power, of which now things have changed. This is 2023. It's not 1990, it's 2023. There's a generation that didn't belong or didn't benefit in this country. It's not in parliament. On the grassroots, we are poor, no power, nothing. So we say, instead of this thing of changing of parties, we are going to stop voting in the country. Why can't they think that there are those South Africans? It's not only me, it's the generation of my age and of my kind to say, where are we put? We are getting old now. Instead, we are taken to our children, whom we didn't talk or teach anything, but we are expected to be led by them. How possible is that? It means our country is in a conflict on its own. So my question to the pact is that, how are we going to make sure that our alliance, it acts even as a coalition? Because now we are wiser, first of all. We know the legalities that we didn't know, even before 1994. And we know that the party in power has made collaborations, the same collaborations we are making today, 28 years after democracy. But now, who are they making collaborations with? They are making collaborations with the very same people who oppressed us, with the very same people Codesa said we must forgive them, which is in South Africa, it's white South Africans. I'm coming to that question to say, where are white people? We need not to take things as men, we need to take things on the root. Because the very same white people who we forgave, they were the oppressors before 94. Come after 94, they are the investors. But do they have the attitude and passion and will to come and invest to the black people? First of all, you must also check on them. Because when they come, they choose who they give their money to. They choose who they don't give their money to. And a political party that is meant for the communities of South Africa, because the ANC as government, it's not meant for their only members. It's meant for all South Africans, white, black, blue, and pink. So, how are we going to make sure that we achieve? Because here we are not here to waste time or to please anyone. This is our country, equally so. Whether I'm in parliament or not, whether I'm an ANC member or not, this is my country. I fought for it equally like any other person. So my question is, how do you accommodate, how do you change the status quo? Because now, if it's only, even in the heading, political party, I think I have a problem, I have a challenge even to address to my people that I'm leading to say, always you say political parties, what about social organizations? Because these political parties are depending from us to vote. So now it's time we take power to ourselves. We have got people who have got legal expertise. Where can they advise us where to go, where not to go? Because we are tired now of people who are saying, yes, this is a new political party, this is what is going. Why it didn't happen in the last 28 years? The big brother makes sure you won't grow. You won't grow. So that is my question to the pact, my honorable chair, to say, how are we going to change that? To accommodate these community organizations, because let me tell you, even the NPOs globally, they're not getting money anymore now. You know why? The culture that has been put in South Africa, we'll say, by the ANC, but globally, it's globalization, it's imperialism, it's neo-colonialism. You can name it the way you want to name it. But why a black person like me and you is always be the last to enjoy money or cash in this country? Why is it still so? How are we going to change it? Can we change it now? Thank you.
Because I'm going to request some, we still have a lot of slides to go through. And remember, we also still have a presentation from President Makhubele. I want you to be brief, right? Answer my question and be straight to the point. I'll give you an opportunity to talk. And I want a representative of the party. Are you not from the same organization?
And now you begin to suppress the flow of communication. We worried about time, all of us, we will respect that, but allow me to come to the platform.
Fortunately, I am the chair.
I'm saying.
I am the chair. I'm directing the meeting. There's a reason why I'm saying some of the things, and I want us to respect it. Okay. So you want to say something? I want you to be brief and answer my question.
The question was, is the alliance or coalition that we should go for? And I'm saying, weights have energy in themselves. And I feel attracted to Superpact movement than an alliance or a coalition. Because both alliance and coalition have been made dating by those who were in alliances before us and coalitions before us.
I appreciate that. Scratch, you don't have to write it for now. I'll tell you what to write.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. It's true, I compare with what the leaders say. We need a new approach that will appeal to the voters, that will represent the integration of all parties of the society. So I really do concur with this one, because if we have a new approach for some of these, letters or words do follow, a certain trend. So a new approach would be an ideal to appeal to voters.
Cool. Are we forming an alliance or are we forming a coalition?
I think alliance is a loser form of cooperation. Coalition is the talent.
Yes.
And because we discussed at length the question of keeping the door open, it would be better to pursue an arrangement of an alliance, so that even those who will catch the message later accept the proposals on the same day. Indeed, on the eve of the elections, there will still be people who are still coming in. We don't want to close them out. So alliance, you can even make it tighter, you can make it looser. It's a breathing organism. Please, and so I would suggest that we take an alliance arrangement.
Thank you. I'm going to request other political parties.
Which I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
I thought earlier on when you stopped me when I was making an input,
Okay.
I thought that you said you were going to come back to me and so on. No, of course I discovered something.
Yes.
That as soon as I excuse myself to go and relieve myself outside, you quickly adjourned the meeting, and then when I came back, there was not even food in here. So I had to follow and find out where are the people. And then when I got there, people are getting ready now for the next meal, lunchtime. So I just want to say that I accept that fairness.
Thank you. I hope you accept my fairness. Can I request another person who wants to respond?
Yeah. I just want to has tainted itself in terms of the history of what happened. It's a new thing that happened. And I always say that because it happened at the wrong sphere of government, coalitions shouldn't have started in local government, it should have started nationally. Because nationally you've got national interests that you can manage. But locally you've got local interests that you can't manage. That goes to self-interest. Hence that is why it has tainted the word coalition. But in the main, alliance are always pre-elections. Coalition is a semantic word post-elections. Because of when you are before elections, you're talking of alliance because of you don't have seats, you don't have power from the people. So you are an alliance. But once you transcend after the elections, you've got seats. You need to build a government. It's coalition. So the two words goes together. It depends on which one comes first because of the processes of politics. So yes, the alliance is a natural route to take when you are doing a pre-election pact. Because of you can't talk of a coalition. Coalition of what? Because you don't have seats, you don't have government that you control. So it's premature to talk coalition. So the alliance would be a very much more softer approach and appealing to the general public. Because of once you talk coalitions, people already take their minds towards the failed coalitions in local government. So the safe space would be to go for an alliance.
Thank you so much. You spoke like an intellect. I appreciate that. So Bosa and Pope have closed it. What are the scholars saying? What are the researchers saying? Maybe it will also then help to guide us. We adopted this definition from Andrew Watt in 1999. The research that was done in 1999, I think we must credit him for that. He says alliance can be defined as the coming together at least two political parties prior to an election in order to maximize their votes. Right? Can we relate to that? A coalition is an agreement, minimum of two parties, together in parliament on the basis of an election outcome. So I nearly cut you off, but I like your input, but it is aligned to what Andrew Watt is saying. But right at the bottom it says, in forming coalitions, politicians have a clear idea of their respective strengths, whereas politicians forming alliances work with less certain speak?
Question is in line with what from the traditional leaders. My apologies.
It's my rule.
My rule. Thank you so much. Not really.
It's your job.
Yeah, Baba George. Alliance, is it limited to political parties? I think that was a very important question. To say they are not a political party.
Yes.
And we are here with other civic organizations.
Yes.
So I think we may need to redefine, yes, that aspect. Yeah.
We have that. We adopted the definition as it was from everyone because they did a research based on political parties. But you're right, it's not only restricted to political parties, it could be civil organizations, it could be faith-based like we have here. I hope you take the notes, that is only, as you prepare the alliance. So you're going to be preparing an alliance agreement, not a coalition agreement. I think there's a criteria.
You mean when there's argument?
When is argument?
When there's what? When there's an agreement?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. When there's an agreement, that's a difficult question. I'll pack it for now.
Yes.
I'll pack it for now. We'll come back to it. Okay. I'm going to skip.
There's a question.
There's a question, okay?
Chair,
Yes.
with respect to you,
Yeah.
when you do a research as an organization or intellectual professor,
Yes.
normally you have to also look at the local models
Yes.
that are working.
Yes.
In South Africa, as I'm saying, the word alliance is dated because it has been used
Yes.
as a means of deploying friends and families into power.
Yes.
And we are saying our people are tired of such terms when we approach them
Yes.
to say, but it didn't work with Communist Party, it didn't work with COSAC, it didn't work with this.
Yes.
You're taking us back, bring us something fresh, something that will inspire us.
Yes.
As we say, movement takes all of that into consideration.
Okay.
Just not the alliance movement, there's go. All the two will be good together.
Yeah.
Moving forward. In this climate, I think it's moving there, moving there, moving there. That kind of energy we need now for a shift of the political climate. And that's why we maximize our voting and our mobilization of the masses. They are tired of coalition. Even now, in Sweden in particular, where Parliament is, every 6 months there's a collapse of that coalition. The new mayor is in, the new this is in, that is in. So they're saying, but why are we voting? Because I'm a queer farmer. I vote for you, queer, and then this will be running the show. And then when it gets tired of getting this settlement, then the lady comes in. So the movement part, as you say, because we found it here, Superpact movement. It's got that energy to it that can also assist, go back and more because there's a new movement going on. And this movement is doing this and that together. And we will also benefit in that country. Thank you.
We got your input. You want to say something? Okay. You want to say something?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Comrade Chair.
Yes.
If I may. The level of my respect does not allow me to address this thing. I have to say that. I think on the basis that I'm young, I think I have to correlate something.
Yeah.
That history always teaches us something. As a young person, I'm not supposed to be in a position to repeat history. History is there. So when we look at the face of how the ANC has been winning elections, it has always been about alliance. They have a lot of alliances, those people. So I think also it must be a lesson to us that they won elections through alliances. Why is it different now that we cannot align? So it means going forward to elections, alliance makes proper sense. I understand. So I think that is what I wanted to say.
The point noted. President Mashishan.
Yeah, I hear what has been said.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what we need to understand here is not the use of the name. It is the type of contract we are forming. The name we can use anything, but
we're trying to differentiate
Yes.
the alliance contract and the coalition. I think that is what people need to understand. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That helps me. President God.
No, I think I must tell her. Only chairperson.
Yes.
When you asked me to sit down the other time,
Yes.
I was about to get to a point which I thought is important.
Yes.
And it's because, having sketched what I sketched out earlier on, I did want to say, before we go to the elections, we need to go and say to the voters something that will make them to choose between us as an alliance, as this alliance, or this grouping, whatever you are going to call it. But I am content with the term alliance. Don't we need to say to the people of South Africa, please vote for us? Something which the ANC is not doing.
Yes.
And then we say, no, you can have that alliance.
Yes.
What do you call an alliance? But we are committing to something tangible. You can look at us, you can weigh us on the basis of what we are committing to do for you. So that when you go to vote, you must not be guessing whether we will build schools for your children or hospitals and all of this. You must not be guessing about that. You've been giving all your money to the ANC without any commitment being made to you specifically.
Yes.
And please choose between us and those guys. Period. And I think that will make a huge difference between the alliance of the ANC and the alliance that says to the people, we will place power in your hands because you must choose whether you want this, what we can do for you, and that if we don't do it, you have a right to say, you have failed us, and here is the account. Can you do that with the alliance of the ANC? No, never. You can't. Thank you.
Thank you, President. The last one, there was what? Was this slide? Yeah.
All right. Again, my name is Lawrence Ruile. I'll speak personally, although I'm part of a number of organizations. I'll begin by saying that both are a mistake, alliances and coalitions, based on the basic idea that the voters themselves have no idea what politics are. There's no education towards the general public. The workshops like this aren't open to the general public. I grew up in a time where education was very different. In terms of the Constitution, we were a group of children that had the opportunity to be taught the Constitution and law by Judge Albie Sachs, God bless his soul, Chief Justice Tikhano Mosineke at the time, as well as George Bezos, God bless his soul as well. And the first thing that most political parties forget is that the Constitution itself is counter-majoritarian, meaning that even if there's one crazy person in the room, we have to listen to that person. And now that has gone away completely, and there's this top-down approach where we are told what to do in our country, as if we aren't tax-paying citizens who also carry IDs. And when it comes to alliances and partnerships, how I got it right is you can come to Alexandra, come to my street. We've probably got one of the cleanest streets in the entire country. We've got cameras. we've got a community that works together, we've got all sorts of things that we've done. And mind you, I'm also Commander Mono. I'm a part of the Alex Parliament, which is non-political.
Yes.
I'm apolitical. I do next. I don't want anybody to come to me with a t-shirt, unless it's one like mine.
Yes.
And why? Because at the back, I can show you all the people that I work with immediately. And that shows accountability. So how we work is we all come with inputs and outputs. Your input will lead to your output. So if you get the input incorrect, the output is wrong. So we start there. Here are the inputs that we require in order to get this. And if you don't match here, you don't get to this step. The government isn't doing that to us. And even with organizations like Sandton, we feed children, we feed Makhubele, we build toilets, we build showers, we fix roads. If you come to my street, we've donated more than 1,200 bags of cement to fix the pavements. We've got gardens, we've got prize stands, we create businesses, and I'm only 34. Now our elders, with all of their coffers and all of the money, ignore us, even though we say, listen to us, we can help you. But please don't make me wear a t-shirt, just come and help the community. So that's what things now need to be community-based, from the bottom going up, because now the rot is everywhere. And we don't want to be told, we can't be told. We live in the time of the fourth industrial revolution. It's over, therefore being told. And unless we can actually be asked what we want, and then get what we want in a way that's, there's no feasibility studies that are done, So there's a lot that's skipped in order to get somewhere, and then we wonder when we come up. But I will cut it there.
I appreciate it.
Commissioner, one question, please.
Yes, President.
Was this gentleman here when I was talking earlier on?
No,
I'm
that's
not
not
late.
it.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, well, that's the point.
But we have an answer.
So, no, we must discuss here.
Thank you.
The thing I was saying to the members of the House is,
Yes.
you know, it doesn't need you to go to university.
Yes.
I said here exactly the thing that I think quite a number of people here have never heard before. And once they had listened to it, they said exactly what I said, exactly what you are saying. But you would think that we are at loggerheads with each other. We are not. I am saying, I said to the meeting, we must understand that we pay tax, that the money government works with is our money. You don't disagree with me on that. And therefore, that if that is a position, the people must be told this. They must be made just to understand that you make one speech, the people understand it. And when they go to vote, they're not going to vote for somebody who's going to say, well, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. They're going to vote for somebody we heard you say that, so that's what we want, period. And that's the thing that I was trying to say. But the chairperson, of course, cut me short. I did say I accept that. That's fairness. It was very fair. But that is the thing. We must tell, my brother, we must tell our people, the money you pay tax with is what we are supposed to work with. And when we are giving budget, we must tell you what we are going to do with it. So that you can decide whether you will vote for people that don't want to tell you what they are going to do with your tax, and then they steal it and put it in their sofas. Now, I'm sure you agree with me on that. So now, if that's the position, why can't we have an alliance that's going to say that to the people? That alliance must go and say to the people, you give us your tax and we are going to do these things for you, and we will not put it under the pillows and things like that, and sleep on it when we are full, our stomachs can no longer take anything going inside. I thank you.
Thank you, President. Thank you.
That's why you're cutting off.
So just continue the slide, and for you, sorry, so we are a group of minimum 2 political parties who do that. An agreement for a second period, common goals, we try to define it last week in terms of our values and priority areas. Joint actions, the pooling of resources, we spoke about it, equal distribution of some the payoffs, they come in the form of National Assembly seats, PR seats, ministerial portfolios, and departments. Is that true? All right. President Mujapi, welcome. Thank you. I'm happy that you could make it. This was my attempt to try to put together, summarize your document. Please feel free to interject, to comment, to move along. I've also noted that we've got a new face in the room. I'm not sure if she's in the right meeting, the wrong meeting. Maybe she must introduce herself.
In the right meeting.
She's in the right meeting.
If I'm in the wrong meeting, can I please stay? Because I'm liking this meeting.
Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Makhubele.
Yes.
I am a member of ICM.
Yes.
I'm actually the API Marketing and Strategy Sector of IAMC.
Thank you. You're welcome. President, because there are new faces, you also want to introduce yourself. Please, so to Parliament, we've got Alex Parliament, we've got Twali Parliament in the House, we've got traditional leaders, we've got people representing the miners, mining communities, and we've got lawyers in the House. So let's just introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, and everyone else. I believe it's afternoon here. Good afternoon. Joe Mujapel is my name. I'm the founder and the president of Independent Citizens Movement. And within the context of this gathering, I'm also a councillor in the city of Colleen, which is made up of 16 parties, divided into 5 caucuses. I am the leader of what is referred to as the minority caucus. Of the 16 parties, the 12 smaller parties are grouped together to form a caucus, and I'm the leader of the caucus from Freedom Front Plus all the way down. It's 12 parties. And I'm also the leader of a similar thing that we are doing here. You might have read about it. It's called the Super 7. So the 7 of the 12 parties came together because of common interest and because of the language that I'm getting accustomed to as speaker, a group of people who are hard for. President Lekota, I thought it was a swear word, but it's not. It's Africans, echte Africans. Yeah, better than giving them. Yes, so it's a group of 7 that came together, and a lot of things that you saw happening around Gauteng in terms of government, minority parties taking over as government, is as a result of an initiative between the Super 7 in Ekurhuleni and the minority parties in the city of Johannesburg. So what we are doing here should not be taken lightly. We have already seen the power of what that could do. Thank you very much.
So another question that I have for the group, few terms that I'd like to also look at, are we an office seeking or a policy seeking alliance or coalition? Our coming together here, are we looking at occupying public office space, or are we aligning because maybe we want to take land and redistribute it to other people in that conversation? What is really driving us as a group? Don't answer me yet because I see it takes a bit of time. I will define that, then maybe we can talk about that. An office-seeking alliance is based on the assumption that the main goal of the political parties is to access power. And main reason for forming the alliance or coalition is to hold public office, while policy-seeking alliance or coalitions are based upon the assumption of attaining particular policy goals. Right? At the bottom, it goes on to say the policy-seeking theories are sound in theory, but they do not appear to be solid. For adequate explaining alliance and coalition building, and they collapse in most African countries. This is because political parties' stance on policy position is not rigid. They always evolve. All right. So on that basis, are we office seeking or are we policy seeking alliance?
Is that a question?
That's the question.
I believe we are both gravitating more towards policy because we want to, before access to power, we want to make sure that we effect positive change in the country. But we have learned from previous experience that advocating for change when you don't have access to power, you know that popular to mami, abasa to mela, so you can't to my anyone. So yes, we want to advocate for policy and policy direction, but over and above that, we want to have access to power to make sure that that which we advocate for is carried. So I would say both.
So which comes first?
Policy.
Policy.
Yes.
So can you impact policy without public office?
No. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we agree on policy, and to effect those policies, we must occupy office. Otherwise, you'll end up with too many.
So we are both.
Yes.
I think let's leave it at that. You want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to qualify it. Yes, I agree, Dr. Muchapi, we are both.
Yes.
But to say, please. But where we are in South Africa, it's not okay for policy. But if we were in a well-functional democracy, because of policy is quite a powerful attribute that you can use to influence society. But because of the nature of our political dispensation, it means you need to have office. So it is a kind of a chicken and egg, but neither the chicken nor the egg comes first. So they are both important.
That is why I hope we're not confusing you. This is just meant for you as you prepare that argument if it happens.
No, in actual fact, I'm confused.
I want to take you are now confused. President Muchapi, so this our legal mind in office, he will be tasked with the responsibility to put together the alliance agreement. Alright, that's what I'm putting here. What is confusing you? I've noted you.
No, in the...
Or you want to talk about it later?
Yeah, no, in fact, what I was saying is, listening to the ideas and all that, because to some extent I feel, well, of course, with the intended purpose, in a similar way, it is understood where you intended to go. But, and how and who you are, it's something else that was left unattended. Because I hear Mr. President Mugabe saying we, whether we office seeking or policy seeking, I think this one is a very simple one to answer, but which in the main in a situation will then be informed by who we are or who you are. Because he's saying we, and that we, if you have had, you took quite a number of time having ideas as to alliance and all that, because that would then be in a position to define your outlook and mainly who you are. Before you could even arrive to this. To say perhaps before we could even have answered that question or attempted to answer it, we had to have had this somehow good picture that is now being the simplest. We in the main, we know, and from what I was informed as well, you want to achieve a certain goal before you even came in here. But how do you then get to be yourself is then that which I think you're not in a position to answer or somehow to deal with. You can hear the gentleman from Alexander, what he said and all that, and other political movements in the main. I've heard that before. Those are the intended things. And he's saying, we're not intending to achieve them. We have been doing that. So if they were to expand and find themselves in the whole of South Africa, meaning all the streets in our townships would be as his street. But what is important, which I feel perhaps maybe would then take everyone through this, perhaps at the end, your answers could then be attended to. Because I believe if you don't know who you are, you are then not in a position to explain what you are.
is simpler to articulate and to point at. But what seemed then to be difficult is to then tell who we are and what do we want to stand on. Because that was quite, in a way, you outlook a difficult question which happened to seem to be the simplest, but it is not the one, as to whether the alliance or not. And another one did indicate that no, this is just a question of semantics. But in the main, and when you go deeper into it, it is not. Because it is the one that then tell what is it that we want to achieve in a way. Besides your policies as political parties. But then if you say we want to ensure that service delivery is the order of the day in our country, which is everyone's wish, it's simpler to say that. But the who part then becomes the question as to who then delivers that. So hence I'll say to you, the confusion that I say I have, it's not just that which I formed and believe it in my mind, but it's something that I would say, if I'm asked who instructed you to come together and what, I would fail to answer that. But I would tell that the people who have informed me to say, here's what regulates them, they know what they want, but they don't know who they are.
Thank you. President was understood and he wants to respond to you.
There were two hands there.
Yeah, I'm not taking it.
No, Comrade Chair, I'm not going to make a long speech. If we don't tell the voters something that makes the difference between us and our opponents, they will not know who to vote for. But if they know that we say, when we get to power, if you put us into power, this is what we will do for you. Then they know whether they want those things or they want what is your name. And they will not be able to differentiate between us and the ANC, which is also an alliance. The thing that's going to make the difference is what you say to them, we will do something different. We will build you schools. We will do this, hospitals for the sick. We'll build housing for the people in that, with your money. And we will give you reports when the money comes and when we budget it to go and do those things. Leave that to the ANC. Do they say that to the people? They don't. Now then the people decide, oh no, these guys are telling us they are going to do this for us, but those ones are telling us just that they are an alliance. It's a beautiful English word. We are an alliance. But you need to know what it means. Thank you.
Thank you, President. I'm going to take the two of you, right? Or it's just one?
No. He's on his own.
Yeah, so you do that, then I'll close this slide.
Okay, Chair, I'll just start from to you first. I've asked some two questions before, but I thought by now you have answered maybe one of them, which unfortunately none. My question concurs to the Honorable President to say, how are we going to change the status quo? And remember, we are from the ground, we are from the grassroots, we interact with voters every day, every now and then. And as we lead these organizations, we don't just lead numbers, we lead problems of the people. We listen to what the people are saying. And on the other hand, we're trying this alliance. The big boss has already started. Can I share with this meeting what happened, in fact, in front of everybody? The governing party already has pushed the IDPs in the locations. Listen, has pushed, not done accordingly, have pushed to say IDPs must be done as yesterday. You know why? The strategy is no party in this current campaign of elections is able to go to people, as we know in South Africa. The time is running out. It will be only 1 month, then we go, of which it's against the laws of the voters, that thing. Because now we are pressed to a corner to say, at that date you are voting, you like it or you don't, you choose who why I'm saying that question is important, sir, is because we are also talking to voters. And it's not about whoever must win, it's fine. It's about the majority of this country, which are black people. No party has been able to solve us. No party, even the ANC. Why I'm concurring with the Honorable President in what he's saying. The party that we are fighting for, that is the party, African National Congress. But the voters are citizens of this country at the end of the day. We can sit in one house, same family, but belong to different political parties. But that doesn't mean we want it from the same pot that has been cooked in the house. So what we are saying, we want to be ready, we want to come and add value, because also this thing of traditional leaders, we must remember as all South Africans to say, it's history that has been taken from our original Amakaba, people who didn't go to Western school, but who knew that white colonization or white people came and took their land with firearms. So they knew that even before they went to missionary schools to learn about the Bible and so forth. So we say, if this modern history doesn't serve us, most this category of the age that I'm 52 years old, I've tasted a little bit of apartheid, now I'm in this modern life. So what are you saying to me, being the current government, what are you saying to me? It's 30 years now, nothing has happened. So you are saying to a person like me or to a generation like me, you are saying you are off in South Africa. You are just like foreign in this country, won't benefit anything, because it's what is happening. So we say, what are we doing now? No, we're not going to wait any longer, because now the ANC has already done the IDPs. They've already submitted to the alliances you're talking about, which is, in our case, in the mining areas, countrywide. We're talking mining companies. Those we say they are the allies to the ANC. Those mining companies are the ones who are still oppressing us. We're talking to the systems here. We're not talking to the individuals. The ANC, I'm not talking to Tate Ramaphosa. I'm talking to the system they're using. And I'm one of the generation in this country that says no now anymore. We are also working with military veterans across, because we are tired of these promises, good words. So I concur with him. Let's say I'm going to be the one of the people who can go to the people even tomorrow to say, here I am, I'm putting my head on the block, I'm going to fight for you to get what the Constitution has been deprived for you. Because it's what us people on the ground are crying for. We don't mind it, whether it's DA, whatever parties want now to keep us out of So I'm still saying, to say for an example, in terms of policies in the mines, you can go all over. We were part of 2018. It was the first time ANC was taking the mining charter to the people on the ground to be reviewed. The land issue to the people on the ground to be reviewed. Okay, the mining charter passed in 2018. But do you know when you go up to a court level, what do they tell us about policy? They tell us that policy, it's something, it's not, I know you answer me. They even said upper legislation, what. But they say policy, it's not actually the legislation and the application that you government do this. It's something that only guides you towards what can be an act or a policy. So what I'm trying to say is to say, thank you to have expertise in the house. But they must guide us as we're trying to draw minutes for the next meeting. Because now, the previous meeting didn't show to say, how are we going to change the status quo? Because we need a party that is going to tell to the people straight so, to say, yeah, well, I'm not doing anything, I've come to relieve you. Let's not follow the trend of the ANC, because now the ANC is talking through the programs to the people. What do they want? Hey, Councillor, go fast. What do they want? Bring it in. Okay, we're going to decide. Of which it's even against the laws of the voters. So let us be very different. We are here to support. Well, if it's COPE that is going to be the umbrella to change this country, let it be. But we are here from the grassroots to help whoever who wants to give democracy to our children. Because we are late. Our children.
Thank you. Chair, well, let us allow history to guide us again here. In terms of office seeking and also policy seeking, we until then, President would know better. He was in the underground of the ANC. To say, let us have state power, access state power, and we'll use state power to bring these changes. Or whatever that we needed, we'll use that to bring changes. It did happen. It did. In terms of policies, you go wherever you can go. They say the ANC has got the best policies in the country, first class, first world policies, but they fail to implement them. Why? Because when they came into power, they engaged mostly consultants in terms of policy formulation and drafting and adopting. They used counterintelligence from foreign countries to draft those policies. Couldn't relate to them as the ANC from the wilderness. Hence the failure in terms of implementation. So I go back to the president. The president is saying, let us have a change of mindset, a paradigm shift here. We go to the people and have a social compact with them to say, these are the things that we will deliver. As a new movement, as a new party, as a new coalition, to say, these are the things we will deliver. If we don't, then pass a vote of no confidence in us, vote us out. That approach will work for us. Then it goes to the president, Makhubele say, both works for us because you can't implement the policies if you're not in power. So they go together. But what is that is so different, that is so unique, that will attract the voters to us. You cannot go with the old themes and old songs, tired of original songs. It's not going to work for us. So let's come back here and let's narrow it to what the president is saying. What is it that we're getting from this conference to the people's matter? Vote for us. This is who we are. We must be unique, different, and challenging.
No, thank you, Chair. I think the colleague on the right has slightly spoken to it. My contribution was really going to be around saying, if you say you're primarily policy seeking, but need access to power, President Lekota spoke about telling the people what it is you're going to do. But I think it's more about showing. So if you're policy seeking, the idea is, I think, is not to only frame what the policy is, but to find ways, even as an alliance, of starting to show what the policy is. So I'll make an example. It was earlier in the year, end of last year, we got involved with ESCOM Court Action, with an alliance of other civil society movements, other political parties. It was court action we ultimately won. And that court action was against the state and against ESCOM. And it was in order to compel the state to make sure that the healthcare sector, safety and security sector, and hospitals and clinics, that's healthcare sector and education. Schools are always have alternative energy. I don't know if you remember this. That was literally a policy-seeking alliance, but it was showing, not telling about the policy. It was showing that this is what it should look like, and this is what it should be. So I think one of the important things, first of all, it builds the muscle, builds the alliance muscle, so that when you get to a point where you are in coalition and working together, you've built that trust and you've built the alliance. But I think the work to do is to find opportunity, to be able to start to show what the policies look like, to show what this alliance is able to do, working together. And in that process, you're also then building the relationship and the muscle among the parties that are part of that alliance.
Close the slide.
No, Chair. Thank you very much. Chairperson, I was getting worried that we might be putting the cart before the horse. We are here today, colleagues, to define who we are, what we want to do, and how we want to do it. You know, yesterday I attended on a Sunday from 2 o'clock what is called Time to Rise South Africa. It's a collective of churches throughout the country. The famous video that's going around of former Chief Justice Makhubele was actually taken from them when they were gathering in Bloemfontein last 2 weeks there, for 3 days. Right? And I understand it was a gathering of more than 10,000 religious leaders. Very powerful. Right? And what were they discussing there? Exactly what we're discussing here. And I think we should appreciate the fact that we are here because we share common concerns and common experiences. But our effort should not be, I believe, Chair, we have overcome that step to sit here and say, this happened, this, and we are here to find solutions. And the quicker we get to the questions that we ought to answer, who are we? How do we differentiate ourselves? Why us, not them? I mean, yesterday I said to the executive team that I was with, and I said, I'm a religious person, but I'm not a pastor. But I was sitting there saying, but guys, are you not preaching to yourselves? No, these preachers preaching to themselves. I didn't scripture this. And if we are not careful, we'll end up doing the same thing. We share the experiences, we share the frustrations. We know the wrongs that happened in our country. To an extent where personally I've been involved in government for the longest of time. And every time I sit speaker in meetings like this, I hear people giving us examples of what they're doing. And those examples are in actual fact by law unlawful. I've heard the example of what you said. Government is a creature of statute. IDP process, what you are saying is that shouldn't happen. It can't happen. IDP process is legislated, so it can't happen. People taking over roads, building them, it can't happen in terms of National Road Traffic Act. But we understand it's the situation we're in. I like what always Ms. O said, we are numb to a point where anything goes, President Report. We're doing all wrong things, sometimes we even find justification in them. So I wanted to plead with you to say that quicker we go to the questions, those critical questions, and answer them, it will become clear to all of us. Then these questions won't be there, but I hear we are asking them even before we get to them. Yeah, it will seem like we are confused, and we are not.
So this slide, before we take lunch, 97 paragraphs 2. I think this slide really attempts to summarize what we're talking about. Right? I'm just going to focus. I'll try to read it for you. I'll focus on the blue part of the slide. Best practice guide and trends in Africa, not in the world. And that's according to the researcher and some of the scholars. It says adopt a minimal winning hypothesis. Meaning, what I mean by that, involve fewer political parties as possible, just enough to win the seats. It's easier to reach consensus with a small group than a bigger group. So we don't have to aim to have 10 political parties, 12 political parties like it's currently in South Africa. Everybody's registered a political party. They are advising against that. Taking no passengers. Everybody must, what's the term we use? Everyone must come to the party. Everybody must contribute. Everybody must add value. Right? Seek convergence of main priorities. I think we tried to do that in our last meeting. Divisions tend to be more personality driven than ideology. Right? Perhaps the President, which I believe can relate to this, with what's happening in Colleen, what's happening Speaker in the City of Joburg, that a lot of your struggles they could be based on personalities, egos. You know, they say politicians have got egos. I don't think that is true, but I've heard people say that. Where a minimum electoral threshold exists, it's advisable to form a pre-election alliances, right? To avoid wasting votes. President Jacob spoke about it in the presentation last time. You know, that our attempt to be able to counter the threshold that the ANC wants to introduce. And this was done in 2000, by the way, at government local elections by the Democratic Party, the New National Party, and the Federal Alliance, they call it. ensure victory in Cape Town. That's how the DA took over the city of Cape Town for the first time. They formed an alliance, pre-election alliance, with the National Party of the Alliance. So what we're trying to do here, it's been done before in South Africa. We're at local government, but we look at national and provincial. But we've got a yardstick where we can learn some lessons there. This is for you, sorry. The alliances have no status beyond that of a gentleman's agreement. So it's not only in South Africa, but in other parts of Africa and the world. I can't take ANC to court and say, but we agree that this is our alliance agreement, therefore we own this. I can't take it to court. The law does not recognize party alliances, right? Therefore, to counter that, it's always advisable to register an alliance political party to regulate itself as parties, right? And that's option 3 that we chose President Jacob of only one. It's this group of parties. Formal alliance agreement is still important regardless. Diversity that allows a coalition to win an election is the factor that is likely to cause it to disintegrate. Expanding on that, this was based on that most political parties or in most countries, and their alliances were based on trying to accommodate as much as diverse groupings, diverse parties as possible, so that they can have enough numbers. But I say that diversity can later on come back and to haunt the group. It's allowed to say to the first point that we had says involve fewer political parties or involve fewer groupings as much as possible. Right? The motivation of most of these alliances in Africa is the quest for public office. Hence the question was, are we office seeking or a policy seeking alliance? But you guys have answered me. All right? Okay, I think with that, perhaps maybe we take a break. You want to say something?
I was going to say, before we take a break, I think it's important to listen to the core of this slide. Because we're almost reaching lunch, we've not hit the core of what you're talking about. Let's hear it quickly, so that during lunch, we're able to mull over it and then conclude. Because that's why we're here. Who are we? What kind of a structure? How do you define? That's the presentation that we're waiting for. That's my humble suggestion.
Yeah, it is coming. Some of the slides will also affect, but also I'll depend on this input. And that's what we're great. But let's go through the slides. And then I think the next few slides will really be
I'd like to meet it with lunch.
Lunch is being set at 2:15. I don't know how long it will take you. Yes.
So this is why we're here.
Yeah.
I think it's
Do you have a presentation, President?
You have, yeah. Yes.
Must I put that? I've distributed the document to the parties, to everybody. That document that you've shared with us, I've shared it with everybody. I don't know how you want to present it. You want to walk through it, talk through it, or do you want me to project it?
You must project it.
Okay, thank you. That's what I want to do.
Because it really guides the critical decisions and inputs that are required from the collective.
Fine. So I'm going to take this off so that you don't see my private stuff while I'm looking for a document. It's important. Is it not important?
it's straightforward.
Where's my scribe? So, President, will come and help us with the project.
Do you want us to project or I can just talk to it?
Talk to it because the leaders have your document.
I've shared it. No?
Yeah, I've shared it with everybody. Maybe talk to it.
Okay. Can I fire with? No, thank you very much, the program director. Picking up on where I ended when I made my last input, to say I think we have gone over, the stage of why we are all here and the reasons why we're here. And what is left of us really is to come up with a way forward in terms of what ought to happen and what we need to do. And we did indicate that unfortunately, whilst time is very important, at the same time it's not on our side. There are a lot of things that are happening and that would be happening that are legislated and regulated. And it doesn't matter. If you are fast asleep, some of the processes are going to overtake us, President Mashashane, and there's nothing we can do about it. I do understand that coming November is voter registration process, and I do also believe that there will only be one more after that one, just before the elections. And if opportunities like this miss us, there isn't much that you're going to do. There is a process, we emphasized on the process last time when we were here, to say there are processes that we need to go through. So at this point, and the discussions that we are having, all of them should lead us to a comprehensive memorandum of understanding, or sort of some agreement of the collective. As the collective is a body of independent parties. We went through our manifestos, we found a lot of similarities. We went through the values and what we believe in, and we found a lot of similarities. Now it's just to put that together and come up with a very sound, legally sound agreement. And that agreement has to comply with South African laws, in particular, the electoral laws of this country. Because we are here because we've got interest on the elections. The power is in the ballot paper, that's where we want it. So I will run through the steps without going into much details, so that I can allow you to ask questions and interact with my steps. First and foremost, which is something that was the meeting of yesterday was grappling with, and I failed to understand, and I even asked them a question, then why are you here? Because that should not even be a question, because the collective was saying, we are tired with the status quo, and we don't believe on anything that's on the ballot paper, in the nature and form that's it. And if you're saying that, you're saying I can't advocate for anything there, then what do? If you want to effect change on the ballot paper, then they say we're not sure if we're registering a party. I'm saying it's not even a question. If you're not going to do that, then you might as well close job, go home to your families because you're wasting your time. So first and foremost is that we have to be registered with the IEC in terms of section 15. Institution. That's number one. It's a prerequisite. The second thing, we need a deed of foundation as a collective, and that deed of foundation must at least be signed by 1,000 registered voters. We need to choose a name and a logo for the alliance. And there are requirements in terms of that. The colors you choose, it cannot be obstructive, it cannot be, insulting to other people. And what is important is that that name must be unique and it must not already exist. So what is that platform that we are going to the ballot paper with? Number three, we need to identify the names of members that constitute an executive. So you've got to put together an executive body, and that executive must have a contact person and a physical address. While we've got our respective key decisions that we've got to make. Four, we need to identify the leader, or to us, as we spoke, a face. Who becomes the face of the collective? As we know, respectively, we still represent the face of our respective parties. And this will involve primary negotiations as well, as we come as a collective. And I think the chairperson touched on that, to say then, in terms of this agreement, the benefits that will emanate out of this collective, how are we going to be, sharing them? As they say, how do we share the spoils? Then we need to gazette the name, as you know, in terms of section 16(1)(a) of Electoral Commissions Act. And these things are time bound, because they want people to be able to comment, come back and say they don't believe in what you are doing. It violates their right. South Africa is very strong on Constitution and a Bill of Rights. So everything that we do has to find expression within the prescript of the law. And then we talk about, once we spoke about the people, there's two groups of people, of voters, for those who were not here previously. 2019, we had 36 million eligible voters, over 16 years old, and a South African. So if everyone was responsible, 36 million people would have voted. But we know that of the 36 million, only 18 million registered to vote. Of the 18 million that registered to vote, 66% actually voted, which was half of the number of the total voters. So we've got 18 million voters that voted, we've got 18 million who didn't register and didn't vote. Right? Now the 18 that voted are already segmented. Right? They are like, I use that example, they are like soccer fans. They are loyal, they are stubborn. They know who they support. And who do they support? 11 million supports the ANC, 3.3 million supports the EFF, DA, 1.1 million supports the EFF. And the rest supports all the other smaller parties. Yes, you can effect, but the change you can effect that is very minimal, very stubborn. Like Chiefs and Pirates supporters. Stubborn, right? So there isn't much you can do there. Okay. The battle will be won from the 18 that don't participate at all. And who are they? Young people, professionals, independent thinkers. Now the question is, how are we going to get there? Because here we're not going to win the battle. Here's defined. There's 18 million, but we will not win them unless we get them out of their comfort zone. They must come out and register. And we must start appealing to them. How will we appeal to them? That's why we have all the other brains here.
sitting with us. You need a very strong campaign strategy and a platform that will represent collective goals and manifestos. Exactly the point that you asked. Why us? What differentiates us from the rest? Why are we different? Why should all these disgruntled people, President Lord, suddenly take us serious? Right? What message are we giving? And this is where we go either going to win or lose this. Okay. So I spoke about then registering the alliance name and logo for inclusion in the ballot paper. Okay. The logo that everyone can resonate with. The logo that represents all of us. Then we go on an aggressive voter education. Okay. By education, we emphasize it's not just to tell people go and vote, go and register. It's for people to understand that the power is in their vote. It's for people to understand that by not voting, you are voting inadvertently. Yes. By staying away, you are not punishing anyone, you are voting. Because you are allowing the ANC, who is the governing party today, to govern with a minority. That's what they're doing. They're governing, by the way, with 25% of the electorate in the country, a quarter of the electorate, because of the people who don't vote. So not voting is voting, especially for young people. So, and then number 10, we need to launch our election campaign as soon as possible and start promoting alliance candidates, promoting the face in various platforms. And then 11, we said, we looked at the 6 possible scenarios from next year's elections. From the numbers, there are only 6 possible government scenarios. And from the government scenarios, we did the pros and cons. We looked at which one is more aligned to us. And we must start engaging on the one that we believe we advocate for. So we must start the negotiations. I like what you presented. If you don't negotiate now, negotiating post-elections is opportunistic and it favors big parties. Okay. They actually don't negotiate. They are opportunistic in their approach. They will look, if they are short one seat, they only take you, my brother, because you are amenable and you are too understanding. There's radical ones who will leave them out, divide them all. They need 2 of us, they choose, and they divide us. It's happening in municipalities. We are seeing it every day. So we can't afford that because it will not affect any changes. They will give the offer to the ones that they believe they're even so arrogant that they call them puppets sometimes. They're looking for puppets. And let's call it what it is. If you are a puppet, they'll go with you. Yeah. And the rest of us will be sitting here when we were a collective. So we can't risk going to post-elections and say we will talk to these parties. So here, the electoral system, tick. It supports what we want to do. The willingness of parties to cooperate with all parties already and agree. And the view is that the sooner we move with what we have, the better. Because those that are doubting Thomas will join as we move on. But this train must move, right? Alignment of political ideologies, we see. There were no fundamental differences in what we stand for, all of us. Stronger electoral appeal. Many people, we haven't even launched this thing. We are getting phone calls and people saying, we like what you are doing, but what is it that you are doing? So we need to formalize it as soon as possible so that then the people can associate with it. But already people like this, and many more will like what we are doing. Because too many parties, similar promises, confusing the people. 400-500 parties, guys, who were not here. By the way, that's where we are going. 2019, it was 48 parties. Next year, we are looking at 500 parties. How will you page the Bible looking for your small party? And they're even referring to us as the less than 0.5% parties. That's our new name, by the way. Okay, and that's who we are indeed. Because yes, you'll get a seat or two, but with 0.5 and all that, right? Now, I'll go to a framework. Okay, as the lawyers will tell you, as it's the requirement with the IEC, we need the name and the identity of the alliance. Okay? I spoke about the objectives and goals. Okay? What are the primary objectives? What are the goals? What are our policy priorities? Notwithstanding that we all, here and there, have areas that we want to focus more on. How do we then come up with common objectives that will reflect our common ground between the parties? the alliance leadership. Okay? How do we choose the leadership of the alliance? How do we appoint convener, the chairperson, and the so decision-making processes. Okay? And standard practice when alliances like this come, but that's a decision to be made. Would say it would always be good to rotate so that everyone feels that they are the part of the collective. I spoke about the governance and decision-making processes, where we have to define how do we make the decisions. Okay. But we know, again, any organizations that or structure that we put within the framework of the law. And the laws of the country are clear. We are a democratic state. You know, in democracy takes center stage. And always majority decisions prevail. So criteria of the membership, very important. We've got a lot of parties that we are looking to attract. Who do we allow to come into the alliance? Who do we not allow and why? Okay, because we don't want people that will not resonate and identify with values, or they are critical and fundamental areas where we totally disagree. You know, there are certain parties that are very radical, and we said we wanted to be inclusive. And my view here is that our constitution, our Bill of Rights are the guiding principle for us, you know, in terms of inclusiveness. And South Africa belongs to all of us. And as long as we are within that, you know, we should be able to find each other. I strongly believe. Then resource sharing. Yes, we're forming this, but we are independent entities as it stands. So how do we deploy those resources? Yes, we will garner resources together, but those that have, vis-a-vis those that do not have, then how do we pull the resources together to what we want to do? Division of responsibilities. Previously, we spoke about responsibility matrix. Okay. Who does what? Okay. And how do we make sure that they are properly resourced? You know, in terms of finances, in terms of whatever is required to do that which needs to be done. Of course, those of you who work now, I saw the letter from IEC this morning, from all the parties that are not complying, presidents, that we need audited financial statements, not the financials that will be audited by an independent firm. Yes, that's how IEC plays now. It's a very serious thing to do so that there is transparency in the monies. You know, these are still public money at the end of the day. Who funds you? How do you account for it? How do you spend the money? And that must be done by an independent. And majority of the parties currently are not even compliant. The letter was saying deadline is the 30th of September, which has passed. Okay? And there are still parties that don't comply. So we are still risking, some of us, not to participate in the elections. Policy, I won't go much, we spoke about that, to say we need to agree on fundamental policy differences and those that we agree, uniform policy platform. Okay, that will reflect our core values. Campaign strategy, I spoke about that as well. Okay. This should have started, and this should start in earnest. Okay. So that we even take advantage of the November. I asked the collective of yesterday to say, they are saying it's a quarterly movement. That's what they're looking at, quarterly, because it's pastors and reverend. And they want to go to their congregations and say, the first assignment is voter education. I said, all good and well. These people are not voting because they are disgruntled. That's voter apart. So you're going to come to me and say, go register. I'm not registering because I don't have anyone else to vote for. I'm clear about that. So when you say register, I will ask you to register and vote for who. So November is coming. We have to do work. What are we going to tell these people that are not voting? Go and register and vote for who. Go register, we're still thinking. Go register and vote for who? Yes. So we have to start moving, right? And then the issue of candidate selection, you know, our processes. With the IEC, there's got to be a list, and you know the processes of the list, even from one individual party. It's a very complex process. It creates a lot of animosity. So how are we going to deal with it now, being a number of parties? So it's important that we determine fair and transparent process of number one, how are we going to select the face? Does a face have to come amongst the member parties, or the face can be any face as long as it can be motivated? It can appeal with the electorate. it can be something that we can rally behind. Okay, these are the decisions, leaders, that we're going to have to make. Okay, and the principle then of nominating as well, candidates in provinces. How are we going to share the spoils amongst the parties? It will need sober discussions and negotiations, because there will be parties that come here with no resources, Speaker, which are new parties, vis-a-vis a party that has been around for 20 years. Okay, how do we deal with it? Are we saying when we come we are all equal, we move in sync, or are we going to look at equitable distribution of whatever? But those are the decisions that the collective must take. But those are very critical decisions. Communications strategy, so that we start coordination mechanism for alliance activities. We spoke about the launch, where we wanted to show muscle, and we said the day we unleash this collective, we must demonstrate power. People must see that indeed this is a collective that is serious. Can't go out there and look like a 0.5 or less than 0.5 parties, that we are individual. There must be strength in the collective, and that strength must be seen by the people. That's the power of, when people see. They say talk is cheap. To say, I want to win elections, how are we going to win elections? You can't even fill up a stadium. I went to FNB when EFF did the event, but I went for my own presence as well. And when I got there, Speaker, what most people don't know, they fill up the station, the perception is, wow, that's power. But you know who was there? Do you know who was there? Those who were there, majority of the people, because I went around. For instance, young people. Which young person would not go to a festival that is sponsored for free on a weekend? And less money in their pockets. When real household income has declined. You threw a party for free, you're gonna get people. In every chair there was a food basket. Buses that ferry the people there. So don't be fooled and think that translates to their power and support. But the perception is powerful. Perception is more powerful than reality. That thing is power. Everyone that looked at it said, wow. But those are not voters. Those are not South Africans. Those are young people. The lives on the day of elections are high. Those irresponsible ones that will not even vote. They'll wake up, it's a holiday for them. But they'll be drunk. But what do we do? Because for some voters, they see that and they say that is power. And it will gain them some votes. So we need to think about that when we launch this thing. Cannot launch and look limpy. We have to go for powerful. Fill up the stadium, see all the leadership standing with everyone that supports us. Inclusivity. Have anyone and everyone that believes in a better South Africa. Because that's all we are here for. Within the ambit of the law. And I like when they said, because they use the same thing, someone used the word apolitical to say we are political. I say, define that to me. Because we are sitting here because of decision making and decisions that don't go our way by the politicians that we voted into power. So the pastors, they said, no, we want to remain apolitical. I said, by all means. You go to the manifesto of the ICN, it says we are apolitical, but we want to play in the political space where decisions are being made. Because those are the decisions that affect us. So it's okay. That's not. We're saying apolitical is that take politics out of decision-making processes and make right decisions, correct decisions for the country. If we see it within that context, then it's fine. Then amendments and dispute resolution, how we're going to deal with that, straightforward. Mechanism for arbitration, if there's any conflict, we've got to deal with that. Signatories, IEC also requires this, but each party that's part of this collective, call it coalition, alliance, agreement, they have to put their signature to it so that we know we are committed to the cause. And we just put there to say, this is a complex thing to do, and it will appeal to some of us, but not others. But the formation of a coalition or alliance signifies a commitment of working together for a common good and achieving electoral success. And we're doing this, colleagues. The reality of the matter is that if we're going to come together and we want to amass at the least 10% of the vote, I don't think we'll become better. Okay. With 10%, then it's a tall order. It's a tall order. You saw the numbers. Yeah, it's a tall order. It's going to take us a lot of effort, but we can do it. And I believe it can be done. But we can only do it as a collective. That we know. Because on our own, it's going to be very difficult. So that was just a teaser. I think the meat will be in the discussion check. I hope I did justice to the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, President. Lunch is served now. We will then discuss the presentation after lunch. And the time is 2:45. Yes, half past 3. Shall I be back by 3:30? And Cllr, you will usher the guys to where our lunches. So let us be back by 3:30. Thank you. Oh, you forgot that, huh? Oh, you want me to name you? Yeah, because it's not kind of. Yeah, please. You get right out. Check. Can you move this advert and put black white one? No, this is not cover. They want some to put out. But it's fine, we'll take it out. We put our own black in there. I still try to move Rado Chacha so that when we come back after a little hour.
It's fully charged.
Please put up.
No space here. We want to charge.
No, it's fine. We'll just move the stuff.
You're okay?
Yeah.
I was here earlier.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go see what's happening.
Are you winning?
I want to charge my. Where's my charge? You've not plugged it.
Because we put the banner up here.
Yes, please. Please hold it.
Before we go that side. Listen, guys. How are you?
I'm good.
You know what I want to do is we want to set up a virtual meeting with you on Wednesday. Okay. At 9 a.m. Yeah. So we are done. Just for the government settings. So we want to do a Zoom meeting. So Wednesday 9 a.m. I'm going to send
If you need the extra plug, we have it here. Eh?
Wednesday 9 a.m. Okay.
What do you want?
No, I'm fine.
Because I don't want the issue of power. Eh? I don't want the issue of power at the time of work. So make sure you
because of the agents.
Sure. No hiccups.
Sure.
I have to start me.
Yeah. Registration coming 19. Let me talk to the DP first.
Okay. Everything is still okay? Okay. They're winning. Though we discourage just like that. And that is the disrespect.
I know I'm not tired, I'm not lying, it's okay. Normally, I don't get tired so when everyone is here, like all behind me, they just suck the life out of me, the energy out of me. So today, yeah. And it's my running, because it's learning to AI, so now, so when we are less, everyone can do whatever they need to do without stepping in. I remember just trying to take a video, trying to take pictures, and it's a lot, and I don't know how many times I've said it tonight. You don't need 5 people in this space. 2, 3 people. The civic education is basically the next civic education people want to work on the side.
Push it to the top.
Yes, push it to the top. We'll do this. Yeah? Events. Yeah. Right, now you put it in. Let me just help. Put the left hand side one, the other one will set it here in the middle. Good? Yeah. So inside. Can't we lift this thing up and then we'll bring it back? I know. We'll put it. Put it in the back. At the back? Yeah, put it in the back. Oh. Can you? No, bring it up. My plan is ready. What's ready?
Really? So you like
Yeah.
it? I'm thinking this for next year, 2023.
It's all right.
So we'll be at the
Ah, no. It's just that we need to. You know.
Did you get those documents?
Yeah, I tried.
From which ones? The ones. The ones that. No, this one is mine.
Was it Cllr?
Laptops are all of them. The iPhone is not fine. Okay, let me take it if you're no longer using it. It's fine. No. Oh, it's no, it's fine. What did she say? Did she send it to you? No, she didn't send it. I asked her to send it via email. I'm still not getting it. She didn't send anything to me.
Yeah, it's fine. What do you want?
Okay, what if she can't send it through via email?
Hey, man, put that email in somewhere. Hey, where is that plug?
That's why it was a bit paper then.
The wrong one. Yeah. You know, space up some English.
Yeah.
English. Oh. Okay, it's fine. Come on. Well, you got it. Come here. Come this side. Use this thing. This side. Push your hand for yourself. Which one? There's no egg in it. No, I'm in. Which one is which one? That one is covered. Yes. That's it first and then come. I just put it like this. You can slide in there. You need my help? Let me come. Yeah, pick it up first, yeah. When you go in there. That's it. That's where we are. And put them together, man. I think it can work. Leave it like that. Yeah, to close the corner, I think it's fine. Yeah, that's only the end. Yeah, let's push it together. Okay. Can you just? Yeah. Let's do one. Was that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can remove one. You can't use this. Yes.
No, but for now, we just close this one. Let us wait for the one that are coming. We just do it something to tap here. As soon as we finalize, then we are going to make the original.
We make a new one. Make a
Yes.
brand new one.
Yes.
All the logos.
Yes. After we finalize, because now we still some are going out, some are coming in. So yeah, that's what we are going to do. Because there's the possibility of the new that we are talking to them, because we don't want to drop from this level.
Yeah.
Rather go up and let them drop in. But those that have been dropped themselves, they must give them invoice.
Hello, brother. Detailed invoice.
Yeah. They can't come here and then milk us and then leave.
Sure. Yeah. I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised. I was shocked though. I wasn't surprised. One of those things.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It happens every day. But then be responsible. Yeah, all those things that you are doing. Be responsible. Don't take anything from us. Don't even take this pen. If you are not committed to us,